The plume of black smoke rising above northern Colorado today was our post-election day reminder that Coloradans did not settle the issue of oil and gas regulation yesterday. They simply left it to the Democrats, who will hold sweeping control of state government come next year. Here's what happened in Weld County today. About 3,000 gallons of diesel fuel caught fire at a Noble Energy site about 20 miles south of Greeley. No injuries in all this. Noble says all of its workers are safe. Noble says a contractor was preparing the well to begin production at the time, and homes within a mile got an automated phone call about the fire. Democrats running the state legislature and Democratic Governor-elect Jared Polis are expected to offer a compromise to the oil and gas industry. Increased regulations, increased drilling setbacks perhaps, all in order to keep another de facto drilling ban off your 2020 ballot. The governor-elect suggested to me today that he thinks the oil and gas industry is over a barrel, so to speak. Do you think their position, the oil and gas industry, got stronger or weaker last night? They spent $40 million. They won, but 42% of Coloradans voted against them.
Well, I mean, look, they can do this every 2 years if they want. I mean, they can spend $40 million and risk losing, or they can work with Republicans and Democrats to actually solve the underlying issues that are giving rise to these conflicts. So I think there's many responsible voices in the industry. It won't be everybody. There'll be some that bitterly oppose any effort. But I think that at least many of the companies that have the most at stake want to see more stability in Colorado. And I do too. And I think homeowners, communities, and the environmental community does also.
My conversation with Governor-elect Polis continues in a moment on Next. We talk about whether he intends to lead a repeal of the death penalty, whether he wants to take away Coloradans' right to vote on tax increases, and also whether he and his partner plan to move their family into the governor's mansion. President Trump knows what happened in Colorado last night. And how do we know that? Well, because the president took time at a press conference today to publicly mock Republican Congressman Mike Coffman of Aurora, among others, for losing his seat in Congress.
I'm not sure that I should be happy or sad, but I feel just fine about it. Carlos Cubella, Mike Coffman. Too bad, Mike.
I think he was reading off a list there. Kaufman's blunt concession speech last night did poke the president, saying that he was the one the voters were really upset with. Perhaps you heard U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions got fired today. I guess this is the last time we will ask, does Jeff Sessions still hate marijuana? Yes, he no doubt does, which is too bad because he could probably use a way to unwind after this stressful day. Congratulations, platypuses. If you've been watching Next this week, you know that that is the famously independent animal that we have assigned to represent unaffiliated voters. Wasn't fair, you know. You got the Democrats have their donkeys, Republicans have their elephants, and unaffiliated, Colorado's largest voting bloc, they didn't have a party animal. Well, platypuses, you partied hard in the midterm, outvoted Democrats and Republicans. That has never happened in Colorado history. Your vote matters. I'm telling you, 9 votes separate the candidates in Colorado's House District 27 in Arvada. There, Democrat Brianna Titone has the slightest of leads as the votes continue to be counted. She hopes to become Colorado's first openly transgender state legislator, second in the U.S., if she can upset Republican Vicki Pine. So, you ever break something around the house late at night and say, not tonight, we're going to deal with it tomorrow? That's what Arapahoe County did late on election night. Their snazzy ballot sorting machine busted, specifically the hose that shoots the air that moves the ballots. Broke at midnight. They called it a night, fixed it this morning. The counting still continues tonight. There are about 20,000 ballots that were delayed as a result, and there are at least 3 races, including the county clerk's race himself. They're close enough to be decided by those ballots. Arapahoe County is considered one of Colorado's 3 crucial swing counties, along with Jeffco and Adams. And man, it got swingy last night. Here's our Anusha Roy.
We found it. Something Democrats and Republicans agree on, at least in Arapahoe County.
We have the carryover from last night, just trying to figure out what the heck happened.
Yeah, I would say probably better than expected.
Both parties were surprised by who won last night. A lot of key state races are swinging towards Democrats so far, but one that even made us look twice was the fight for sheriff. It's been held by a Republican for years, but the Democratic candidate is ahead by thousands of votes.
Those are a reaction to the fact that we've had some of the same candidates in place for a long time.
This is an area that touches the densely packed suburbs of Littleton and Centennial all the way to the wide open spaces of Deer Trail, but it's a lot more complicated complicated than just candidates and an itch for something new.
And I would argue today that the unaffiliated voters are the kingmakers.
While more Democrats voted in Arapahoe County this time around, more people are registered as unaffiliated. The very idea is that they can swing either way, which county Republicans say this time seem to be against them.
There is an anti-Republican backlash right now. Our big task is to refocus how we message, especially to unaffiliated voters.
So as each party deals with their own surprise.
And we expected to win those races, all of them, especially at the county-wide level.
We're talking about like a literal sweep that we haven't seen in a long time.
They're already talking strategy for the next round.
So we've been talking about this, right? That blue wave that we saw across the state. And at a state level, we talked to the Colorado Dems and Republicans. They're agreeing on unaffiliated voters. That is a factor. But Kyle, when we asked the Republicans, you think the president played a role in what happened? Oh, they said, no. Too early to say right now. They still got to look at those numbers.
Yeah, swing counties are called that for a reason, and you got to go a lot of cycles before you write someplace off. All right. Thank you, Anusha. So while Arapahoe County went blue this time around, voters in Aurora were concerned with red, specifically ditching red light cameras, and along with them, the nearly $1 million in revenue they bring. Here's Marshall Zellinger.
Aurora voters flashed City Council on election night, putting a stop to the red light camera program.
I was surprised it failed by such a large amount.
Before Bob Laguerre became mayor of Aurora this year, he was a city councilman who pushed for this ballot issue, asking voters if red light cameras should stay.
The question was very straightforward. If someone runs a red light, should they get a ticket? And the answer was a resounding no.
Voters gave it the red light by a margin of 2-1, but the cameras will likely stay active until the contract runs out on New Year's Day.
I am disappointed because our data in Aurora says that the serious T-bone accidents were down considerably, and those are the ones where people get killed.
In the last 4 years, T-bone crashes dropped and then stayed steady in Aurora, while rear-end crashes spiked before dropping last year at the same time tickets dropped. Those tickets have helped fund social services in Aurora with more than $860,000.
We have the money for 2019 in the budget, but there's no money allocated for that beyond 2019 at this moment.
Twice in the last 3 years, lawmakers passed a ban on red light cameras, just to have Governor John Hickenlooper veto the ban. Greenwood Village just put up a new red light camera at Bellevue and Dayton, near Cherry Creek High School. The police chief told me, "We are going to continue to follow state law in utilizing the photo red light system to manage traffic safety concerns in Greenwood Village." Then there's the Denver program with the 6th and Lincoln red light camera near downtown Denver that even flashes you for stopping too far into the crosswalk. Don't ever be in a hurry at 6th and Lincoln. Could Aurora City Council keep the cameras? Sure. But the mayor flipped the question on me, Kyle. Should City Council ignore the will of the people? And to that, he said no.
Oh, it was one of those.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Listen, I think it's fascinating anytime the politicians say, you know what, we don't really care one way or the other, let the people decide.
He didn't even need to do that.
Yeah.
They could have kept him.
All right. Thank you, Marshall. Let's return now to my conversation with Governor-elect Jared Polis. I asked him about whether Colorado should decide once and for all whether to use the death penalty that's on the books or just repeal it. You know, this week the family of Shanann Watts agreed to a plea deal for her killer, and they did so in part because of the uncertainty over whether a death sentence will ever again be carried out here. You said that you would sign a repeal. My question for you is, for the uncertainty alone, will you lead an effort to repeal the death penalty?
Well, it's on the books now, and so if we want a legal change, it would take the legislature to do that. I think there's, again, this is not even a partisan issue in our state, Kyle. There are Republicans and Democrats on both sides of this issue.
But do you intend to lead on it? That's the question.
We will be, as we have been during the campaign, very open with the state legislature that if they do send a bill to abolish it, I will, because I feel it's not cost effective. I will sign it. It's not cost effective. It's not an effective deterrent. And, you know, I do have a problem with some of the ways that it's been implemented from a racial bias perspective as well. I mean, the fact that all 3 people on death row happen to be African American, and yet the theater killer who killed 14 people didn't get it, but somebody who killed 2 people got it. I mean, it makes you just sort of ask that question about why somebody who killed 2 people got it and why somebody who killed 14 people didn't.
You've talked proudly in the past about taking on the taxpayer bill of rights at the ballot box. Are you committed to keeping the provision of Tabor that allows Coloradans to vote on tax increases?
Absolutely.
100%?
Absolutely.
Okay. Last question. I almost hesitate to ask this, but I know people are interested. Are you and your family going to move into the governor's mansion?
Oh, you know, and during the campaign, we always said, I don't want to think about what comes next. I guess, Kyle, now I have to start thinking about it. And we really didn't. I didn't want to fall into the trap of measuring the curtains before I was elected. I don't know whether we will or won't. Prior governors haven't lived there by and large. I think Bill Ritter did, but most haven't. We don't currently plan on moving there, but we'll certainly take a look at that. And I'm sure I'll be spending some nights there during legislative session.
All right. Governor-elect Jared Polis, thank you for stopping by. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you, Kyle.
You can see my full unedited discussion with Governor-elect Polis on the next YouTube channel. There he talks about his surprise, and it almost seems his discomfort, waking up to headlines across America about how he is the first openly gay person elected governor in any state. We talk about how he made history in that regard without making it an issue in the campaign.
People live it, they breathe it, they sit on it every day.
Coloradans rejected 2 ways to fix our roads. CDOT tells us what that'll mean.
We still have buildings that average at about 50 years old, and they still have the same issues.
So what now? Next.
Todo está bien? Did you have a good summer?
I'm on track to do something good.
Our school, come on. We love weird kids.
This is me.
Place was like
Wow, it's gonna be great today.
I think that's amazing.
I want to welcome everybody.
That girl portrays determination.
That was a tight squeeze.
Oh, wow. Keeping my fingers crossed.
This place was saving my life, providing me that which I couldn't provide for myself.
The homeless and less fortunate just need a second chance and a second opportunity. The Food Bank of the Rockies is everything.
As a human being, we have an obligation to our fellow man. If you're donating for any other reason, you're donating for your own humanity.
We need your help. Donate non-perishable food, clothing, toys, and cash to 9 Cares Colorado Shares on November 17th. Give someone in need a second chance.
I know people don't always believe this, but I'm allowed to speak my mind on this show, and I'm allowed to showcase your thoughtful perspectives, even if the bosses don't agree with them. That really does happen here. That's the strength of Next. It's important to hear things that we disagree with because, lo and behold, we might change our minds. We also want Next to be a reflection of you watching at home. You're smart, funny, and you're unapologetically honest, even when it gets you in trouble. And that's what we hope that the show is as well. There have been frightening things in the news lately, familiar things for many Coloradans. Check in with your family and friends. If you or someone you know needs mental health support or emotional help, it's available right this second. A real person ready to provide real problem solving. Call or text Colorado Crisis Services. Let's take care of ourselves and each other.
From the sidelines to the front office, get the inside story from the ultimate insider. Broncos Sideline Stories with Jim Sacamano. Saturday nights at 9:30 on Channel 20.
You shot down setting aside state funds for roads. You shot down a sales tax hike for roads. CDOT today listed some of the improvements they expect to delay after the no votes on 109 and 110.
I think we all know here in Colorado that we have significant transportation challenges, and people live it, they breathe it, they sit on it every day. You know, in the short term, you're going to see several projects moving forward thanks to the dollars that have been pushed into the system here over the last couple of years. I-25 south in the Gap area, up north, Central 70. We do need additional infrastructure, and that was, you know, the over 100 projects that could have potentially been funded by Prop 110. It could have been also the projects that would have been funded by Prop 109. Projects that could have started should these ballot issues have been passed, such as making improvements to I-70 in the Mountain Corridor westbound, perhaps adding an express lane westbound or tackling Floyd Hill. But we're talking about projects, let's say Colorado 13 that goes up to Rifle, up into Wyoming. Projects that we had out on the Eastern Plains about how to deal with surface issues out there, even freight corridors. So very frankly, a lot of projects that continue to sit and be priorities, but just won't move forward as rapidly. You know, we really look forward working with the governor-elect and the legislature on what the vision for transportation is. We recognize, again, right now that Our funds can only go so far, and the reality is that most of our funds are spent maintaining the existing system that we've got. Most people experience a very moment in their car when they're sitting on I-25 going, why doesn't CDOT just do X and expand the road here? The real answer on why we don't is, frankly, we don't have the money to do that vision at this point in time.
There's a Walking Dead looking shot there at the end. You see that? CDOT's looking ahead to its next chance to ask you to open your wallet to fund transportation. State legislators passed a bill to put another road funding question on next year's ballot if this year's failed, as they did.
If you thought today was chilly, wait till tomorrow. We have a cold front coming through overnight and a little bit of snow expected as well. Little being the operative word, our snow model showing that any accumulation will primarily be east of DIA, east of Byers and Lyman. 40s today, will be in the 30s tomorrow. It should be close to 60 this time of year. But with the next weather system dropping into the northern mountains, we'll see the moisture increase there, followed by cold air leading to accumulating snow. Already seeing banded precipitation out around DIA, Bennett, Watkins, out toward Burlington and Ray. Winter weather and travel advisories will remain out during the overnight hours and through the mid-morning time period. Mostly cloudy tonight with a few light snow showers that'll linger through about 10 a.m. and then move out. Mountain snow, no advisories for that, but may run into some snow and some snow squall activity on the I-70 corridor if you're headed up around 8 or 9 in the morning. So tonight will be chilly, as you might imagine. Cloudy with a low of 25. Overnight snow showers linger through the morning drive. No accumulation. Clearing our high 37 Thursday, low 19. Warmer Friday and Saturday. Chance for light snow Sunday, maybe an inch or two of accumulation, and then back to the warming trend. Mountain snow totals are amazing. Our Matt Renew showing us some pictures from Breckenridge where 4 to 5 feet of snow has been reported in the last week, and these two major ski areas, Breck and Keystone, opening early. Kyle.
All right, Kathy, thank you. Colorado's second largest school district asked voters to fund teachers and school buildings, and voters were like, nah, how about one or the other? That's next.
Todo está bien? Did you have a good summer?
I'm on track to do something good.
Our school, come on. We love weird kids.
This is me.
That place was like a
Wow, it's gonna be great today.
I think that's amazing.
I want to welcome everybody.
That girl portrays determination.
That was a tight squeeze.
Oh, wow. Keeping my fingers crossed.
Okay, no problem. Everybody follow me.
Get ready for a gnarly ride. This dude rips.
I'm Jacques, they call me Frenchy. I am 41 years old, each leg, equal 82.
82 years old as Jacques keeps moving. Sure, he can ride, but his charisma is what got the attention of Carbondale filmmaker Michelle Smith.
Oh, I love Michelle. Too bad she's married.
5 Point Film Festival's Night of Stoke is the kind of evening you rock Chacos instead of heels. Jacques,
the love of your life.
Michelle, and Jacques' new friend are in the house for a screening of Michelle's film, The Frenchie, a tale too big for one person to tell.
You know, you meet somebody like that and it's like, I'm not afraid to get old.
For that, I'm glad I motivate people to keep moving.
I used to never really talk, ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
Did you know that 1 in 3 women in the United States experience rape, physical violence, and/or stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime? This could be your mother, sister, daughter, or best friend. Safe House Denver provides safe shelter and comprehensive services to adults, children, and youth experiencing domestic violence. Visit safehouse-denver.org to learn how to help someone you suspect is experiencing abuse, or to learn about volunteer opportunities, donations, and other ways you can get involved.
Teddy, nighty, bong, bong, bong.
Join the party.
6:30, 5 nights a week on Channel 20.
Jeffco schools went to voters asking for a property tax increase, $600 million to pay teachers and fund buildings. Our Nelson Garcia found half that story still unwritten the day after Election Day.
The war paint is still fresh. The battle is still unknown, as places like Green Mountain High School wait to see if the Jefferson County bond proposal will pass. Kay Slater.
Definitely. We're all holding our breath.
She's the co-chair of We Are Jeffco, the parent group behind the campaign for 5A and 5B to pass.
For Jefferson County, 5A was past due.
5A pumps $33 million more into the operating budget, which will increase the salaries of teachers like Erin Murphy.
Yeah, it's been a really long time. Between the recession and not being able to pass mail-in bonds, a lot of us are way behind in our pay.
5B is supposed to bring in a $567 million bond to fix buildings around Jeffco.
This is actually siphoning out water from underneath this floor
and address problems like the gym at Green Mountain, currently unusable because of water issues.
Do short little cuts.
Or the overcrowding and deteriorating conditions at Alameda High School. 5B promised millions to each campus for improvements.
Well, we're still waiting for the final count on tenterhooks. We're all really nervous about that.
Last I've heard, it's still down.
An update an hour ago had 5B failing by less than 3,300 votes, a difference of 1.2%. Final hopes that somehow the numbers will swing.
No, there's nothing to do but wait. And so that's what we're doing. We're waiting.
And the battle will turn. For Next, I'm Nelson Garcia.
Voters in neighboring school districts, Littleton and Jeffco, did convince voters to raise property taxes to increase school funding. Your feedback's right around the corner, but we have heard plenty about how much you are going to miss our faux political ads, even if you won't miss the real ones. So here's one last look back at the good times we shared.
This is Jackie. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm an elk.
Hello there, sir.
Should I fill out my ballot with a glass of wine or a nice IPA?
Oh, here we go. So, let's unwind this a little bit here.
That's what we're here for.
Election.
This is kind of odd information.
2018.
The platypus is Colorado's most popular party animal.
Thank you for voting.
I identify as Panamanian and African American, but at the end of the day, I'm just human.
I identify as the Latina Asian.
I identify as Puerto Rican and Mexican.
I identify as a Chicana.
I identify as Mexican American. I identify as Colombian American.
I identify myself as Honduran.
I identify as Mexican American.
And I identify as Salvadorian.
I identify as Colombian Palestinian.
I identify as Chicana.
At the end of the day.
But at the end of the day.
I am just human.
I'm Jeremy Hohola, sharing Colorado stories. 9 News everywhere.
I really didn't feel safe anymore at home.
Sometimes I wouldn't eat. It was like this hunger pain in your stomach.
It was just so lonely. I just felt like I was not important to anyone.
I never thought homelessness could happen to someone like me.
I remember coming here and I felt comfort, I felt safe.
Graduating to valedictorian, getting a job, keeping the job, it's just a good feeling.
Because I've completely turned my life around and made it into what I've always wanted it to be. There's people out there who can help. There's people out there who care. And things can get better.
If you call 1-800-RUNAWAY, you will get connected to the help you need.
From Maine to Maui, thousands of high school students across the country are getting in on the action by volunteering in their communities.
It's great helping others, and it feels good too.
Are you in?
Whoa! Anyone can do it. All it takes is a little time. Are you in?
Action teams of high school students are joining Volunteers of America and Major League Baseball players to help train and inspire the next generation of volunteers.
It's easy to start an action team at your school, so you too can get in on the action.
Are you in? Get in on the action at actionteam.org.
It's a sign that, well, signs weather and change with time. This one here on Arapahoe Road near Spruce, I think that used to have some red paint on it there, because I'm pretty sure that what they're saying is that it is the law to drink and drive. Because right now at this point, without the red paint, it just seems like a suggestion to knock back a martini and then do something very, very dangerous. Our Steve Staker spotted this one. Maybe it's time for a new sign there, Arapahoe and Spruce. Send us the signs that make you look twice. Email next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. Chris writes in tonight, so the governor-elect, Jared Polis, thinks the death penalty is racially biased. Is the governor-elect calling jurors racially biased? Yes, I'm pretty sure that he is, along with prosecutors of the judicial system as it ends up in the death penalty. Yes, I take it you disagree, Chris. Randy writes in, hats off to you and Marshall Zellinger for your election prep, fact-checking, ballot explanations. Thank you. Voting was a lot easier and less complicated. Really appreciate that, Randy. And Marshall Zellinger did yeoman's work on this. The fact that we made the process easier and less complicated hopefully kind of greased the skids to get you and other people to the polls, and that is fantastic news indeed. Dan writes in, what happens to the governor's mansion if the governor-elect, Governor Polis, doesn't move into it? Does it just sit vacant? It would be used for all kinds of ceremonial things that it has been through the Hickenlooper administration. I think the Ritters were the last governor's family to live there full time. We'll see you next time. Subscribe to the Next YouTube channel for the best of Next and some other stuff.